one. One sec. Okay. I am gonna rant at you about every live-action Superman's cape for roughly however long that is. So, grab a snack. This is obviously gonna take a while. It is 85 fucking degrees in here. Sweating my ass off. What the hell was I thinking? Hello and welcome back, my fellow members of the Goonion. I am your host, LexCorp's most recent layoff, the Panda Red. With James Gunn's new DCU now finally on the silver screen, there is no better time than now for me to insert all of my personal DC opinions, as I'm not sure if you're aware of this, all comic fans are actually legally required to do. And you see, that opinion today is that I believe you can judge, dare I say rank, every live-action Superman there has ever been based on one simple factor. And no, somehow it's not his trunks. I don't think that I could talk about a man's exterior underwear for however long this video ends up being without making it awkward for everybody. I don't think anybody can do that. No, it's his cape. It's his cape and the neckline attached to it as well, which is technically two things now that I think about it, but it's my video, so fuck it, we're sticking to it. All right, now listen, I know. It's a weirdly specific detail, but trust me, it matters. Superman is the first proper superhero in comics. He is the visual and moral blueprint for every ensuing superhero after him. And adapting that to live action means trying to capture all of it within real life restrictions, with the costume carrying that weight first and foremost. So why the cape and neckline specifically? Well, you see, that part's simple. I'm an opinionated little bastard. Artistically, it has everything to do with shape language. Superman is supposed to look safe and hopeful and heroic, while also being capable of being threatening and intimidating and powerful when the moment calls for it. When a villain is causing chaos in Metropolis, he needs to be able to stand in the shadow of the sun with his eyes glowing and be taken seriously, but then to look completely natural, saving a cat out of a tree without scaring the little girl under it 10 minutes later. And while I don't claim to know a goddamn thing about fashion, god damn it, Scarlet. I know that I feel differently when I see this versus when I see this. However, before we get into today's video, a quick word from today's sponsor, GloalComix. I try to read pretty much every comment that I get on all of my videos, and one of the questions that pops up the most often is, Panda, I'm really interested in the characters and the stories that are in comics, but I just don't really know how or even where to start. What should I do? And my answer is usually, well, go and support your local comic shop. But not only are those exceedingly rare for most people, even if you do have one, sometimes they simply just don't have the variety that you're looking for. And that is where today's sponsor, GloalComix, comes in. You see, GloalComix operates a little bit like Netflix for comic book nerds like myself. With over 100,000 titles from publishers of all sizes, GloalComix is a one-stop shop for anybody that wants to start getting into reading comics. Not to mention that now with their gold membership, you get a huge selection of extra benefits, such as new comics every week at the same time they hit the shelves, member-exclusive discounts, and access to a huge selection of DC titles, including the inspiration to the new Superman movie, All-Star Superman. Oh, yeah, it's also only $6.99 a month, which is roughly 2 comics and some change, give or take, if I'm doing my math right. I'd say that's worth it for unlimited access, wouldn't you? I use these guys as a huge resource when researching the different styles that Superman's cape has taken over the years, so I have absolutely nothing but positive things to say about them. Once you're done watching here, head on over to GloalComix and check out all that they have to offer. And thank you again to GloalComix for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to it, shall we? Now, because I am nice, I have kindly provided some research and guidelines to back up my flawless, universally correct opinions. I present to you the Kal-El Cape Cornerstones. This is, in the simplest sense of the word, a list of do's and don'ts concerning the cape and neckline of Superman's costume, based upon 10 of Superman's most popular artists throughout time, 7 of which were actually dictated by DC themselves, so don't come at me. I only added 3 of them and their logical options. The cornerstones are thusly. Any given supersuit's neckline should either be a square cut or a wide oval, either extending anywhere between the middle and far ends of Superman's straps. This is not the middle, this is up to the neck. The middle to far end of Superman's straps and sitting at highest just above the collarbone and at lowest just below it, which is honestly my preference, so we're just gonna say that's the better option. The higher up you get, the closer you get to looking like Superman is just wearing a long sleeve shirt with a cape, which has literally never in the history of the fucking world ever looked good. It makes a whole bunch of awkward space between the neckline and the logo. The way the cape connects gets weird because it's all tied to the neckline. It's bad for everything, okay? So just keep the neckline near the collarbone and everything should be fine. The cape should be tucked, if possible, into the neckline, but it's not necessarily a requirement. It just looks better. Most artists draw the connections on the front as being somewhat wide and flat. Think like John Byrne, Kurt Swain, with very few choosing for the cape to be held on by individual points like Alex Ross or Tim Sale or, fucking Joe Shuster. You will find in general that my personal preference is just the Alex Ross design. So if at any time you look at a suit and wonder, oh my God, I wonder if Panda's gonna like this, just compare it to the Alex Ross design. And 98% of the time, if it looks anything like it, you're gonna be right. These front connections should span widthwise from around the mid pec to the outer pec if the connections are the flat and wide variety, as they need more width if they are wide to not just spill over onto his shoulders and look like parapets. Likewise, if the connections are of the single point variety, aka tuck under the collar at one point rather than the whole line, see the Alex Ross, Joe Shuster, yada, 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 you get the point, they should connect at the outer pec, just right where the shoulder meets the chest and the trap meets the shoulder. So the cape has a proper amount of width and shows all of that glorious neckline. Speaking of which, the cape should rely only, and I mean only, on the connection points in the front, either wrapping around and sagging slightly behind his traps or resting on and bunching around his neck. Very rarely in the comics is the cape ever tucked into the whole neckline. More often than not, a cape tucked completely into the neckline will give the impression of like a child playing dress up, tucking a sheet into their shirt and running around the house pretending to be a superhero. And while, yes, Superman should inspire these feelings of like childlike wonder and the homemade aspects of the costume, he also needs to feel safe and strong and sturdy. The cape being held on by these two connectors gives the impression of intention instead of haste, and therefore make the suit feel more powerful without risking the comfort that the cape brings. Remember this for when damn near half of all the costumes on this goddamn list completely ignore this point and do it anyway. The cape should be made of a drapey fabric with plenty of bunches and ripples throughout the cape itself and often pleats near the connection points and the neckline if it's of the flat and wide variety. The fabric can range anywhere from like a medium lightweight fabric to a heavy, almost cloak-like fabric. However, honestly, pretty much every artist on this list favors the former with only a couple going for the latter. Regardless of the fabric though, the cape must, and I mean must, be able to naturally billow and blow in the wind. This is an absolute necessity as it maintains that Superman has this wonder, this feeling of being super. Either the cape can billow and he's a superhero, or it can't, and he's just, some dickhead in cosplay. Also, another weirdly specific point. You should only be able to see light through the cape if it is incredibly intense and right behind him. Otherwise, the cape should be opaque. This stops the cape from feeling cheap and convinces you that it could withstand the punishment it usually goes through. Speaking of, it should never, and I mean never, look like you can rip Superman's cape. Cheapness is the death of the superheroic. If the costume looks fragile, the hero's gonna take that on. I need to believe that this man can get shot point blank with a bullet and it will bounce off without tearing the suit. And the same goes for the cape. Doomsday can whip this man around by the goddamn thing. A weak as hell mortal like me shouldn't be able to ruin it completely with a light tug. And yes, before you hop in my comments, I am aware that Superman has a sort of aura that protects all of his clothes. That's not the fucking point. I should not be able to feel like I can just grab and tear away Superman's clothes with my hands, as much as I'm sure a ton of you want to do so. Superman's cape is almost always drawn as just a square base, just two complete fucking angles, but only sometimes there is somewhat of a downward curve between those two angles. But usually it's just two 90-degree angles. However, that square base must be wide. I mean wide. It needs to leave plenty of room for bunching and the ability to flow in the wind without just looking like a stiff fucking rectangle. Otherwise, again, you're gonna risk the feeling of being cheap. Cheapness is a death of the superheroic. I'm gonna stick with that the whole fucking video. So, this one's kind of weird because the cape has had a range of lengths over the years, currently being drawn at or near Clark's ankles/heels, but it's most often drawn either between the knee or the mid-calf. It can be longer, but anything past the lower calf, which is my preference, starts getting into Batman territory, which actually, big point here. Whenever it does, what you have actually made is just a red Batman cape. Suddenly, it can conceal every single part of him, and Superman does not do that. He is not the type to hide at all. Batman's cape serves a function that a floor-length cape provides. It obscures his figure. It gives the impression of either being some formless fury of the great wings of some demon. But Superman's cape has a function too. It makes him look heroic and bright and full of movement in an almost joyously childish way. You go too long with the cape, and suddenly his silhouette makes him look like a monolith or a statue. Zack Snyder was the first to really popularize this with his Superman, and just, come on, Snyder's trying to make him look like a Christ figure, okay? So that he could strike poses that be foreboding and ominous, not because Superman is actually an ominous being, but because a being with that much power should be ominous, right? You can tell that Snyder thinks he should be scary. He thinks he's Dr. Manhattan with a cape, a literal god struggling to find his humanity, but without all the things that make Superman who he is. The things that make him just as much of a human as he is godly. The things that turn that ominous power into an unstoppable force for good. Sure, Superman sometimes needs to appear ominous to villains. But do you really think he would sacrifice the feelings he gives everyday people just to do that? Ominous angels aren't touchable, and Superman, of all heroes, is someone that anyone, and I mean anyone, can reach out for and have him reach back. When you are in his presence, you should feel like you can fly. So anyways, yeah, that's why Superman's cape shouldn't touch the ground. It makes Big Blue feel less blue and more just big. Alright, I'll be the first to admit here, this one's a little nitpicky and honestly a bit confusing. The cape should go back and then out, going behind the shoulders before it starts to get wider, but not framing or covering his shoulders when resting. Essentially, the rule just says that the cape shouldn't be framing his shoulders, as that would make Superman look a lot more artificially wide, which would take away from like the man behind the costume, and it makes the cape look like it's a compensator for a lack of overall size. But equally, the cape shouldn't just fall like straight back and not have any width at all, and just be like the width of his back, because that would make the cape kind of redundant, right? Another thing is that his cape should be able to fall over his shoulders if it's needed, but that also shouldn't be its base state. Superman uses his cape in like a ton of ways, but one of the big ones is for protection and for comfort. He should be able to use his cape and drape it over someone's shoulders like a trauma blanket, but that requires that the cape not be pinned back behind his shoulders in a way that would stop the cape from coming forward if needed. So essentially, just like, don't make Superman look artificially bigger with the cape, and also don't make the cape completely redundant, and also, if he leans forward, the cape shouldn't be like held back by, I don't know, straps. That's not foreshadowing at all. It should just be like pleats and folded back. He should just be able to like hold it over his shoulder because he's just that fucking big. Superman's cape is red. It's not wine red. It's not burgundy, and it's certainly not blood red. It is red. The colors of Superman's suit are important. It makes him the shining beacon of hope that he is. The second you start darkening that cape for realism is the second that Superman starts losing some of that shine. I mean, fuck, even grimdark New 52 Superman has a bright red cape. Don't fuck with the colors. The cape is red. It's red. The cape is red. It's fucking red. Superman's cape is almost always a kind of satiny texture. It'll usually be just above fully matte, but it is not shiny by any means. His cape is fabric, pure and simple, and that fabric should be comforting to look at and feel. If I think for even a second that your cape can squeak if grabbed the right way, fuck you, that shit is fabric. Just keep it fabric. I'm normal. I'm a normal person. I have normal opinions. I feel very normally about Superman's costume. This is a fictional character. So if you were counting, you'll notice I only have 9 cornerstones, but that is because there is a bonus point. You get 1, and I mean 1 extra point if you have the yellow shield on the cape. But it must be yellow. None of this, well, it's a darker shade of red. No. Capes have always had the yellow shield in the comics, except for the reboot that shall not be named, except for the multiple times I've named it already. And it is such a minute detail that you either get the point or you don't fucking get the point. So with that, we have our rules. We have our Supermen. I will be addressing them in chronological order of appearance, and each will receive a score of 1 out of 10 House of El Cress based on how closely it sticks to the cape cornerstones. 1 point for fully hitting it, and half a point for kind of getting it. They will also receive either a Panda certified seal of regret or approval, based on my personal opinion, because, as previously stated, I am always right, and as a random internet comic fan, I have supreme judging authority, which is also always right and damning. So, shall we begin? First to the stand! The often overlooked first live-action Superman, Kirk Alyn, wore this costume in 1948, just 10 years after the comic debut of The Man of Steel. His costume is brown and gray and has a kind of, I don't know, sweater-esque design, complete with cuffs so obvious they put him on the goddamn poster. Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't hate this suit from a technical perspective. I mean, yeah, the colors and quality are off for sure, but, like, it was built for a black and white film. It was never intended to be seen in 4K and full color. It was made in the fucking 40s. It's like complaining that an 8-bit game looks bad on modern hardware. No shit. They were made to be seen on a fuzzy as hell CRT screen or a fucking 40s movie screen. I will say, the untucked, way too wide cape attachments are understandable to an extent, I guess, even if that doesn't earn them points. Fabric materials were way more limited back then, and it's clearly sewn directly into the sweater shirt thing. Clearly it proves that you can still get some decent pleating even with wide horizontal attachments. Hoechlin. Even so, unacceptable! The cape is definitely on the shorter side, but it makes sense for the time. That's usually how his cape was drawn in the 40s and 30s. The neckline shape isn't quite as bad as a t-shirt, but it is, you know, a sweater, so it's not like it's much better. But that's another issue with this kind of neckline construction. The seam for most shirts and sweaters always show the stitching pretty obviously, and the thicker the fabric gets, the more glaring it's gonna be. So while I kind of like the sweater material for other reasons, like it doesn't wrinkle the same as spandex, it doesn't have the MCU infectious disease of micro-hexagon fabric bullshit, it's just overall thicker. In terms of the neckline, it's gonna be another ding. Could a thick sweater material perform better if there was a less obvious seam around the neckline in the correct shape? I don't know. I don't make the outfits, I just judge them. And on that front, is it perfect? No. But I'm going to give it some grace, because it had never been attempted before. So it gets a 5.5 crest and 6.5 crests if you include the crest on the back for accuracy to the Superman of the time and for making do with what they had. As well as a seal of approval for making a not half bad super suit in the fucking 40s. For a first attempt, it's a damn good one. The rest will not be afforded such grace. Next up. The most well-known of the early Supermen, George Reeves wore this costume for pretty much the whole of the 50s in the first ever live-action Superman TV show. His suit is definitely a lot more comic accurate than Kirk Alyn's in terms of, you know, color and fit, and they seemingly made it of a much thinner material that's a lot closer to the spandex bodysuits that would soon become very, very popular, and sporting our first depiction of a much longer cape. His being at about calf length, which is on the longer side, but it's not breaking any rules here. Speaking of the cape, something really peculiar about the cape is actually how it connects to the suit. See, when I first started looking at the suit, I'll be entirely honest, I was not super impressed. The cape virtually disappears behind his back, and it all just felt kind of, I don't know, cheap? Like I didn't see the full vision. But then, while I was writing this video and researching, I looked up this suit and found it at a museum, and wow. Okay, so it looks like the cape has a sort of combo connection going on. Like it tucks in and connects around the neckline, kind of like a t-shirt tuck. But then over the shoulders, it comes back out and droops down and back just under his shoulder blades. I know I said that capes get some extra points for drooping, but I think I might need to be a touch more specific in the future. Because it's not drooping. It's just, the fabric is literally just cut like that. Which is a choice, I guess. And it's not like my reasons for not liking the suit disappear. I mean, the neckline is still too high, the cape falls way too far behind the shoulders still, and the cape's so damn narrow that when it billows, I can't tell if that's a different cape or not. The neckline seam is also super visible once again, and honestly thinking on it, it might just be a limitation of the fabric choices back then, because when you look at the suit in the photos from the National Museum of American History, it's fucking ribbed? It's ribbed, apparently. And hey, there's some close-ups of that perfectly tucked cape, so small victories. There's also a great shield on the back. It's red, but, you know, there's so few capes with the S on it, I gotta take what I can. I just can't get over that cutout, guys. It's like it's asking for someone to stick their hand in there and yank them around. Reeves, you get 5 crests because you don't stick to the rules enough, but you do also get an approval for creativity with the connections and the nape drooping. You're not perfect, and you're admittedly kind of weird to look at, but hey, at least you tried. Next up is probably the reason that half of y'all are here in the first place, so let's get this show on the road without further ado. Before we even start, it is scientifically impossible to hate Christopher Reeve or to not just acknowledge how much of a treasure this man was both in and out of the spandex, so I'm not even gonna joke like he's not getting a seal of approval. With that said, okay, you can't be mad at me. I need you to promise. I've never seen a Christopher Reeve Superman movie. No, wait, I know, okay? I know, I'm a sham. It isn't on purpose, it's just, I just haven't done it yet. Listen, okay, at least you know that my opinion isn't going to be based on nostalgia. It's just gonna be based on what I can see. And just so you're not as worried anymore, yes, Scarlett has made watching every single Reeve installment part of our prenup, so yes, even the quest for peace. Anyway, I mean, what do you want me to say? Look at him! His collar, under his collarbone. His cape connection, tucked perfectly. The length, it's a midpoint between the two most common lengths. The pleating, so on point that I can hear my Scottish ancestors weeping with joy. I mean, for fuck's sake, he's even got the yellow logo on the back. Like, come on! And finally, oh my god, finally, we have a wider cape. Look at the immediate improvement. There's more folds, there's more body, it just looks more super! And it makes that square bottom look so much less flat and thin than the previous two. I mean, yeah, I wish the neckline was slightly adjusted so that the cape emphasized his shoulders a teeny bit more, but that might just be because I've been looking at stills and I haven't seen it in motion. Please don't stop! Yeah, give me a second, I digress. There's this really famous story that Richard Donner shares in The Making of Superman the Movie where apparently after a really bad costume test upset him, Christopher Reeve was given full permission to go work with the wardrobe team directly and independently to alter the suit, and when Reeve went in, all he did was tell them, make me look like the comic book. God, what a fucking legend, right? I mean, genuinely, there's only like maybe 1 or 2 things I would change about this whole suit, and absolutely none of them have anything to do with the cape or neckline other than like the small adjustment to the neck that I said. So as far as I'm concerned, yeah, 8.5's crest. Siegel and Schuster would be proud. Christ alive, that might just be Superman. Guys, I'm gonna be real here. I had never fucking heard of this show until researching for this video, so I'm gonna need some supplementary help here. Apparently this show was created by the father-son duo of producers from the first 3 Reeves movies, who had apparently owned all rights to Superman in film media and everything related to him for a little bit. They made this show after the Supergirl movie that they also produced in the mid-80s flopped, and it aired on the 50th anniversary of Superman as a character and 1 year after Superman for the Quest for Peace. Okay, I'm gonna be real, this sounds a little cash grabby to me, so... Okay, what does our titular boy of supers look like? Yeah, okay, I see. What? Look at him! He's basically just wearing the Reeves suit with a thicker and longer cape. That's awesome! Superboy in this show was actually played by 2 actors, John Haymes Newton for season 1 and Gerard Christopher for the other 3. So there are a few variations on this suit, but collectively, yeah. I mean, this suit is pretty much perfect. It's just the Reeves suit with some improvements. As heretical as it might seem, I actually prefer these suits to the Reeves suit. Whoa, hold on, it's just for the longer cape and the shorter boots. Looking into it, to give the cape that shape, it's actually pretty heavily padded around like the high back and the traps area, so it'll naturally give the actor a little bit more size and the cape a little bit more bulk when they're being Superboy, I guess. A little bit of a fun fact. The year before this show premiered, DC wrote the whole time Clark was in Smallville operating as Superboy. Completely out of canon. Crisis on Infinite Earths, wipe that fucking slate clean. He was never Superboy. This fact doesn't really tie in anything, honestly. I just wanted to make sure that you knew, because I thought that it was fucking hilarious that for a year before the show had even premiered, the entire premise of this show didn't make any sense, and then it ran for 4 fucking seasons! Listen, you can judge all you want, but honestly, to me, this is pretty much exactly what Superman should look like in live action. Obviously sans the whole being a teen and skinny and Superboy. Scale says 8.5 crests. New #1 for me unlocked. Good job. Fuck, man. 2 straight wins in a row. We are on a fucking roll. Who's next? Fuck. Alright. Okay. Alright. I can be objective. I can be objective. I can be objective. I can be objective. Just think of the capes, Panda. Just think of the capes. Dean Cain, shit human being that he is, was unfortunately Superman in the mid-90s. He wore a pretty wide variety of costumes throughout his run, so let's just get to it. I'm gonna cut right to the chase here. His season 1 suit, just fucking bad. Cheap fabric, atrocious, padded, horizontal cape connections, and somehow the neckline is actually too low, which I didn't think was possible, but okay. Ultimately, the only good parts are the bulkier cape and the pleats. Also, this isn't technically a cape thing, but the chest shield is so fucking bad early on, and you know what? It's so damn high up on the suit that it's technically part of the neckline anyway, so I'm gonna fucking count it, damn it! You literally can see it wrinkle and concave in promo photos with Lois. What? Why? That is awful! God. Okay, anyway, back to the cape. Don't worry, it's awful too. It looks like he bought the goddamn thing at Spirit Halloween, and I mean, shit, even they have a deluxe line now. Listen, I'm not giving costuming a pass this time. It's the fucking 90s, and we just had 2 back-to-back perfect suits. They could have pulled it off. Listen, it changes a few times, but it's either super thin and flat, or it's half decent. And the real crime is that when it's flat, it has better connection points. You can win them all. They just sure as shit didn't do it here. He just looks like a guy. He looks like a fucking Looney Tune. And if you rip the fucking fur off of him, he's just gonna be standing there naked. Technically, because of the list, he gets 3.5 crests, but he gets a fucking seal of regret. Get this shit off of my screen. His season 2 and 3 suits are... Okay, look, they don't change very much. He's got pretty much the same suit for 2 seasons, but fuck, man, it looks good. It looks so fucking good. They fixed the connections on the neckline. There's no more Cain cleavage anymore. The S is nice and big across his chest without taking up the whole torso, even if it is, you know, like a massive embroidered patch half the time. Look, it's still too cheap to be the Superman. But I will begrudgingly admit that if I saw this online or like at a con or something,
I would say this suit rocks. Because of the list, it gets 7 crests for accuracy and... Oh, God forgive me. It gets a seal of approval because it just looks so fucking good. God damn you, Lois and Clark. However, just so I don't have to end this section praising Dean Cain, check out their version of the Black Regeneration suit. Ugh! Right? Why is it so fucking blue? Why is it so obviously spandex? Why are his shoes like that? All right, I feel a little bit better now. That was nice. No crest, no seal. Fuck you, Dean Cain. Who's up next? Okay, so yeah, apparently in the 10 years? 10 years? Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, in the 10 years Smallville was apparently on the air, Tom Welling never actually had a proper super suit with a cape. He just has, this one that even he admits is just a t-shirt. He doesn't even have any suits in the revivals. He only wears a suit in the comic books, and I'm not fucking talking about comics today, so... Yeah, poor dude. This is a cape video. I'm not gonna talk about it. So you know when you have a favorite food, or like a snack or something, it's like your favorite thing, it's your comfort food. It's the thing you turn to when you're feeling down that always picks you up without fail. It's pretty great, right? Right. So what about when that favorite snack gets acquired by a mega corporation, and they change the package design, and they change the recipe ever so slightly, but they act as if everything is still the same? It's less great, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's the Superman Returns suit. So Superman Returns is the kinda sorta weird spiritual sequel to specifically the Richard Donner cut of Superman 2. So technically, Brandon Routh is supposed to be playing the exact same Superman as Christopher Reeve, just as if it was updated to 2005. Yeah. Now, I want it stated out front that I got nothing but love for Brandon Routh, okay? If anyone on this earth had to pick up the reins of Christopher Reeve's Superman, Brandon is a fucking great choice. I mean, God, aside from the eye color, they look uncannily similar, and Brandon is a genuinely good actor, so I just feel bad for him more than anything, because... Good fucking God, this suit is ass, man. Not even focusing on... all of that. Why are the fucking trunks low-rise? Just focusing on the cape and the neckline. Yeah, I hate it. What in the fucking t-shirt neck is this? Why does the cape tuck over the top like he's a 10-year-old playing dress-up? Why is the red so dark that it almost looks brown? Who is meeting me outside later to fucking run these hands for making the cape fucking latex? How on earth did you look at quite possibly the best adaptation of Superman's suit ever made and go, you know what? I have an idea to modernize this. I got it. Yeah. Let's just make it all worse. Who fucking made this? Was it Lex Luthor? Oh, it was Bryan Singer. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Supervillain. Different supervillain, but close enough. It gets 3 crests. It gets 3 crests from the list and a seal of regret. And I'm also gonna go and build a goddamn kryptonite island just to pick it up and drop it on your ass for making me look at that again. Okay. All right. But real quick though. Brandon's Kingdom Come Superman suit in the Arrowverse. Peak. No notes. 9 crests and a seal of approval. Fight me. It's perfect. The neckline, perfect. The cape isn't shiny anymore. It's the perfect size and weight for that Superman, for the Kingdom Come Superman. The muscle suit doesn't look like they bought it its spirit anymore. His contacts don't give the Elijah Wood effect anymore. This just means something to me, man. It's so fucking good. It gets 7.5. It gets 7.5 crests from the list, and it gets a seal of approval. Let's move to the next one before I start crying. Oh, Henry. You had so much potential. Henry Cavill was the premier big screen Superman from 2013's Man of Steel, all the way up until the balance of power in the DC universe was forever changed, before immediately dying, otherwise known as Black Adam, in 2022. In that time, he rocked a couple of very minor variations on this suit right here. No, I'm not counting the black one, it's just a desaturation of his normal suit. So, this guy. Okay, let's start with the good. I love the fabric that they used for the cape. The bunching on the shoulders, the weight, the way it moves, it's just, mwah, it's perfect. I love it. The scene where Superman takes flight for the first time in Man of Steel is what I think of when I think of how Superman's cape should billow and blow in the wind. And the connectors are flat, so they're, fuck. Yeah, all right, that's all I got for praise. What the hell is this? Why does the cape have little plug-in spots on the chest that are highlighted with fucking borders? Why does the neckline have a flat bar that goes from one end to the other across the whole damn thing? Why is the neckline a trapezoid that cuts in tighter than the cape? All right, look, I have a lot of problems with the suits that Henry Cavill wore, the least of which, ironically, are with the cape and the neckline. And the next section is gonna be really fucking long. So let's just wrap this one up with a very indicative of Henry Cavill's time as Superman time, and just say he gets 6.5 crests for an overall decent cape, if nothing else. And he also gets a seal of regret, because, well, he's ugly, so. When he was cast back in 2016, Tyler Hoechlin was told that he was only going to play Superman as a cameo in 2 episodes of CW's Supergirl. Since those episodes premiered, Hoechlin has not only become the actor with the most live-action credits as Superman to date, but as of last year is now the 3rd longest acting live-action Superman with 8 years in the role, only behind Reeve and Cavill, who both have 9, and that's being rather generous to Cavill, considering his sum total of 2.5 hours of screen time. And good fucking Christ, in those 8 years, Hoechlin wore a lot of fucking costumes. This is gonna take a while, so let's just get into it. Oh, and before we start, I got a thing from Scarlett here. It says, I would otherwise murder you for criticizing Hoechlin's variant, but I will allow it only on the condition that you include this preface. Oh, also there's a footnote that states, he is the best Clark by a mile and my most perfect boy. Heart, heart, kiss, kiss, love, Panda Scarlett. So, yeah. Let's get into it. Supergirl. Ooh, okay, bad start. Very bad start. I hate this. I hate all of this. Why are there shoulder straps? Why does the cape start on his back? Why don't the shoulder straps connect to anything? Why is there an extra neck piece that comes up from under his cape? Why is his cape almost on the fucking floor? Why can I see how the cape was folded in storage? And who is meeting me outside for another ass beating for making it fucking latex again? Listen, this attachment style is specifically bad for a very good fucking reason, and it's that whenever a cape is attached this way, it can't go any further forward. He can't lay it across someone's shoulders. He can't protectively wrap it around someone. He can't throw it out to block the sun or any terror or anything. It is strapped firmly behind him, which makes it feel, I don't know, disconnected? It feels like a tail. His cape is supposed to feel like a very real part of him. Ah, God. Okay, it's bad. It's bad. Bad. It gets 3 crests for the neckline being pretty fucking good. That does actually sit pretty perfectly on his chest, but it does get an obvious seal of regret. That, I fucking hate this. Listen, I know, okay? It follows none of the rules. It follows none of the rules. It's even got the stupid fucking shoulder straps that I was just bitching about, and it's got the new 52 stand collar that I usually fucking despise. But I would be lying if I said this wasn't one of my favorite Superman looks of all time. Like, come on, this thing fucks so hard. All right, listen, it is only because this Superman is supposed to be evil. That is the only reason that this gets a pass, but holy shit, that floor-length cape fucking works here. I love whatever the hell fabric they use for it because it looks like a fucking shadow. And the lines of the suit are so clean, and the use of the different fabrics and the different shines for the different parts, it's just, If they wanted to give Superman a new 52 style suit in live action, they could just color swap this and it would fucking look great. I wouldn't even complain. And if you know anything about me, that is saying something. Panda seal of approval. 10 fucking seals of approval. This suit rocks and I love it so much. It does only get 4 crests though. It did break pretty much every single one of the cornerstones in spite of being the best suit that Hoechlin ever wears. And yes, that does include... Oh, my beloved Fleischer suit. Oh my, okay. I'm sorry for this little one. This is my Superman suit. My introduction to Superman was through DVD versions of the Fleischer animated Superman show that I used to watch at my grandparents' house. I still have those DVDs. I love this suit, and seeing it adapted so faithfully and so well in the show so early on made me so overjoyed and gave me so much hope. But this is also the first time we're gonna see the #1 sin of every Hoechlin suit that he wears throughout his own show. And that is this fucking t-shirt neck. They make this man wear suit after suit after motherfucking suit that looks like a padded compression shirt with a fucking sheet tucked into the neck. And as much as it pains me to say it, it all starts here with my beloved throwback suit. Now, honestly, this suit is really, and I mean really fucking good. Overall, this is an incredible realization of what the Fleischer suit would look like in real life, but come on, guys! How did you look at this? One of the most iconic Superman looks ever, and decide that tucking the cape halfway into the neckline like he got distracted while making the bed and decided to go play outside was the way to go! And again, why the goddamn t-shirt neck? Superman has had the exact same goddamn design for damn near a century now. I know you know how to make a square neckline. I mean, for fuck's sake, you've been strapping it down to his shoulders for damn near 5 fucking years at this point! Just please stop choking my boy out. For all my gripes though, this suit does genuinely look incredible. 6 crests for accuracy and a begrudging seal of approval for putting a spotlight on my perfect, beautiful, lovely baby. I love you, Fleischer Superman. I love you so much. So, while Hoechlin does get a new suit damn near every season, the improvements are so minor every time that I'm just going to cover them all in one little group section here. Ultimately, it goes from 5.5 crests in Season 1, 6 crests in Seasons 2 and 3, and then up to 6.5 in Season 4. We start in Season 1 with a strangely thin cape tucked into a suffocating neckline that sits far too high on his neck. The cape being so thin makes it look like a Halloween costume, and with Superman being this late in his career, I shouldn't still be getting the homemade cape impression. I will say though, the length is pretty good, and stays that way throughout, being on the longer side, but never as egregious or Cavill, or even his own in Supergirl. And I do appreciate the bunching created by this tucking style, as contradictory as that seems. Supes has a new suit for Seasons 2 and 3, and honestly, this is probably my favorite of the series. The colors are much brighter, and they give him a slightly thicker cape. The neckline is better-ish. Not good by any stretch, but I don't think it's choking him out anymore, which is a good thing. Ultimately, while this is a solid Rebirth-style Superman suit, and I do like it, the cape and the neckline are just... they're just fine. They're not bad, they're not great, they're just fine. And then there's Season 4. Well, they finally pulled the neckline down, at least. Unfortunately, it did come at the cost of, color, and all of this added superhero suit texture that pretty obviously is Man of Steel inspired. I have feelings on that, but this video is about the cape, so let's focus on it. The cape here is pretty good, suffering from some of the same problems that Hoechlin's others did, while improving where it can. There's more obvious pleating here, and since the neckline is a bit lower now, the cape being tucked in all the way around doesn't look as terrible. I mean, hell, it even looks passable at times, but that entirely depends on this shot. It's not great, but it's certainly better than what was before. Also, I may be mistaken, but it looks like they might have brought back the padding that they used in the Superboy days on the top of the cape around like the traps in the upper back, which if they did, I mean, I love that, but I can't really tell for certain. It, again, kind of depends on the shot. Ultimately, the neckline and the cape tuck will forever be the killer of Hoechlin suits, which is really unfortunate considering what video this is. So, for as much as I love his interpretation of Big Blue, and trust me, I love his interpretation of Big Blue, I am gonna have to give him 6 crests on average. I am also going to abstain from giving this one a seal in either direction, simply because I don't hate any of these suits in the way that I hate the other regrettable ones, but I also certainly don't love any of them either, so I don't want to give them an approval seal. Congrats, Hoechlin, you earned yourself a brand new seal. I know, this may seem harsh for a version that I supposedly hold so dear, but hey, I'm not the one who put him in a fucking t-shirt for 5 years, am I? And that, my friends, brings us to the guest of honor. The Superman of the hour, the new kid on the block, ladies and gentlemen! Our final entry, fresh off the presses, we have Mr. David Cornswet rocking this number from the brand new movie of 2025, simply titled Superman. I just want to restate that I'm only looking at the neck and the cape exclusively, because wow, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think I like it, guys. I'm on record as hating the new 52 suit, so I will fully admit my bias is peeking through here on this one, because I fucking hate it when Superman has a collar, but I will give that this collar isn't the worst. It dips far enough in the front that it doesn't look like it's choking him out, and it's a good height in the back. I will admit that I also loathe all of the unnecessary detail where the cape connects, but if I'm being objective, the connections themselves are not the worst. They are wide and they're pleated on the collarbone area, and good fucking god, that cape fabric is perfect. It's nice and bright and colorful, and it's heavy without feeling too weighty. I love it. I love it. I love it. I will admit that I love the length a little bit less, but what are you gonna do? This movie was made in 2024, and unfortunately, most modern Superman artists now draw the cape damn near on the floor anyway. So, sign of the times. Also, hey, congrats on your brownie points for having the big yellow logo on the cape. We haven't seen that baby since the Superboy show in the late 80s. God, I've missed it. Okay, I'll admit, the more that I look at it, I don't really hate the cape. I do really like the cape itself, and I'm coming around on the neckline. It wins a seal of approval, and I'll give this guy 7 crests for accuracy, but only because that whack-ass collar has precedent. Only that. That's it. That's all. And that is it! Every live-action Superman ever released ranked on my completely objective and not at all biased scale. What is our final ranking? Well, conveniently, there seems to only be 10 spots on the board after tallying all the scores, so in order, our top 10 ranking is number 10. In last place, we have Tyler Hoechlin's Supergirl look and Brandon Routh's Superman Returns suit, both of which only got 3 crests. I love you both, but why the hell do you look like that? Don't worry though, they will redeem themselves later. At number 9, we have Dean Cain's disgusting season 1 fit with a 3.5. Hey Dean, maybe you could fail out of the NFL for a second time with those big ass shoulder pads, but in these parts, we like our Supermen a little bit more classy. Pull that neckline up, delete Twitter, touch some grass, and maybe, just maybe, you'll remember what Superman is actually supposed to stand for. Moving on. Number 8. My beautiful, beloved, perfect black and silver Hoechlin suit, coming in with only a 4 out of 9 crests. I'm so sorry, little one. You're number 1 in my heart. Or at least you're close. You're number 4 at best. Take pride in the fact that you beat out Dean Cain wearing a regular super suit. Number 7. So we got a 3-way tie here between Kirk Alyn, George Reeves, and Hoechlin's season 1 Superman suit, all of which got a 5.5. You're all perfectly fine suits. You just all have 1 or 2 glaringly obvious deviations that stop you from getting higher on the list. Funnily enough, none of you actually have the same glaringly obvious deviation, though. That's weird. Number 6. Okay. Listen, Hoechlin's gonna be all over this list, but number 6 is squarely his, ironically, with all of these suits scoring a 6. We have the Superman and Lois season 2 and 3 suit, as well as my beloved Fleischer suit. They're all really solid interpretations, and they would have been so much better if they fixed that fuck-ass neckline. Genuinely, they would be so much higher on this list. Number 5. The beginning of our top 5 is shared between Hoechlin's season 4 suit and Cavill's, well, all the suits he ever wore, all scoring a 6.5. While all of these suits have incredible capes with great qualities, they are all held back by their connections and length, respectively. They're good, but they're, They're not great. Number 4. Dean Cain's season 2 and 4 suit. It got a 7. It just looks so good. But not top 3 good, and thank God for it, because I don't think I could have managed to say those words since, well, he sucks. Fuck Dean Cain, on to the top 3. Number 3. Our bronze medal is given to my beloved, perfect, gorgeous, beautiful, Crisis on Infinite Earths, Brandon Routh, Kingdom Come Superman, with a 7.5. Come on. Did you seriously think that I would have a list about Superman outfits and not give a medal to the interpretation of my favorite comic ever? The fuck out of here. He looks incredible. And you know what? Yeah, another seal of approval aside. He earned the points anyway, so clearly my bias doesn't matter. Hell of a redemption for Brandon in my eyes, and a high as hell bar for the rest to pass. However, some did pass. So, they are number 2. Our silver medal goes to the new boy on the block, David Cornswet, with a staggering 8 crests. If you got rid of the collar and shortened the cape by like a couple of inches, this would be fucking perfect, because it's damn close already. Seeing this in motion is just, it's spectacular, it's gorgeous, it's beautiful. However, he is not the top spot. That honor goes to number 1. The crown goes where it has sat since 1978, upon the head of the Superman, Christopher Reeve, as well as his Superboys John Haymes Newton and Gerard Christopher, all of which scored an 8.5 out of 9. The closest the world has ever seen to a direct 1-to-1 adaptation of a superhero costume. These guys blow the rest out of the water in terms of accuracy and deserve all the flowers that they have received over the years. Though, given the lack of buzz around the Superboys, I'm giving them their extra flowers here and now. What else is there to say? I mean, just look at those capes. They're just super. With our final ranking out and done, I am gonna call it for this one. If you've made it all the way to the end, then sincerely, thank you all so very much for watching. Remember to go check out GloalComix and to check on my other socials. I post pretty consistently every week on Instagram and, well, okay, maybe a little less consistently on TikTok these days, but I will also have some new stuff up on Patreon really soon, including rankings for some unreleased capes, like a certain KG individual whose time in the tights was not to be. So if you want to hear that, go check out my Patreon. Anyways, thank you all for sticking with me through my insane ramble. Don't ever forget to watch the skies and never stop fighting for truth, justice, and a better tomorrow. And I will see you all next time.